This is lesson 6, modeling linear relationships. Lenore makes a table of this information and a graph where numbers of minutes is represented by the horizontal axis and total session cost is represented by the vertical axis. Plot the 3 given points on the graph. These 3 points appear to lie on a line. One information about the access plan suggests that the correct model is indeed a linear relationship. Okay, so the amount charged is based on constant usage rate in dollars per minute. So the first thing it says is what information, so these points appear on the line. So let's plot these first. So 10 goes to about 40, which is about here. 20 goes to about 70, which is about here. And then 10 goes to $1, which is here. I know it's kind of hard to see this. Excuse me. So now it says the rate of change describes how the total cost changes with respect to time. So it says when the number of minutes increases by 10, such as from 10 minutes to 20 minutes, from 20 to 30, how much does the charge increase? Well, what that means is when the minutes increases by 10, the charges increase by 30 cents. Okay. And we know that by looking at this chart. And if you look at here, each time it goes up by 10. So it goes up by 10 minutes. On the other side, if you notice, it goes up by 30 cents. So if we continue this pattern, then the pattern that we have here, we would go to $1.30, $1.60, and $1.90 to continue this pattern. To go to the number before it, we would have to subtract 30 cents from the 40 to get 10 cents for the value of 0. So there's another way to say this would be the usage charge per 10 minutes of use. Use that information to determine the increase in cost based on only 1 minute of additional usage. In other words, find the usage per minute of use. So what we would do here basically is find the unit rate. So in other words, the unit rate. So here to do that, in other words, we're finding the slope. So 0.30 over 10. So we would divide both top and bottom by 10 to get 0.03 over 1. Or, in other words, 3 cents per minute. Okay. So next, the question says, the company's pricing plan states that usage rates, there we go. that usage rate is constant for any number of minutes connected to the internet. Using this information, determine the total cost for 40, 50, and 60 minutes of use. Record those values in the table and plot the corresponding points on the graph in exercise 1. Well, we already have that on the table. The only thing we need to do that is graph that. So let me bring this back here. So let's graph those points. So we've got 40 and 130, which would go about here. And then 50 and 160, which would be about here. And actually, let me get a straight edge. It'd be a little easier to figure out here, especially on here. So 50 would be here. So 60 would be about here. And then for 60 and 190, be about here. So let me regraph these here. So 40 would be about 130. So here's 50. So about 130 would be about here. I'll move it over here. Okay. Wow, Mrs. Smythe. So 30 and $1. Here's $1. So 30 and $1. Okay. There we go. It does make a straight line here. There we go. And 0 and 10 would be about there. There we go. Okay. All righty. Now, so let's move on. So for number 4, it says, using the table in the graph in exercise 1, compute the hypothetical cost for 0 and minutes of use. Hypothetical really doesn't pertain, but it says, what does that value represent in the context of the values that Lenore is trying to figure out? Well, if you follow the pattern in the table, so you follow the pattern, okay, we would find that 10 cents is how much it would cost for 0 minutes. And this is the initial value. Okay, that's the initial value. It says on the graph in exercise 1, draw a line through the points representing 0 to 60 of use under this company's plan. The slope is the line of this line is equal to the rate of change, which in this case is the usage rate. So we can show this on the graph. So by doing so, let's pull this back again here. We can draw our line. Okay. And the last thing it says is using X for the number of minutes and Y for the total cost, write a function to model the linear relationship between the minutes of use and the total cost. So in other words, write it in MX plus B form. So our slope in this form, or our unit rate, or our rate of change, is 0.03. So Y equals 0.03x plus our initial value, which is B, would be 0.10. And that would be our equation as far as that goes. Okay. Our next question would be a second, there we go, would be a second wireless access company has a similar method for computing its costs. Unlike the first company that Lenore was considering, the second company explicitly states that its access fee is 15 cents and its usage rate is 4 cents per minute. So let X represent the number of minutes used and Y represent the total cost. Construct a linear function that models the total cost, total session cost based on the number of minutes used. In this respect here, we've got Y equals mx plus b. So here we've got Y equals 0.04x plus 15 cents. So now it says using the linear function, constructed in exercise 7, determine the total session cost for the sessions from 0 to 60, and fill in these values in the table below. So if we start at 0, our initial cost for 0.04 for 0 plus 0.15 would be Y equals 0 plus 0.15. So Y equals 0.15. So our initial cost is 15 cents. Now to find out what it is for 10 minutes so that we can find our pattern here, we have Y equals, and not even mx plus b, let's just replace here because we know what our equation is. So we've got 0.04 times 10 plus 0.15. So we have 0.4 plus 0.15, which equals 0.55 cents. So 0.55. So we're going up by 40 cents, and here we're going up by 10. So to follow this pattern, our numbers would then be 95, $1.35. Oh, sorry. $1.75, $1.95. Sorry. $2.15 and $2.55. So now we can plot these. So I've got 1, 0, and 15. I've got 10 and 55, so I'm going to use this again here. So we've got 50 and 55 would be about here. So 20 and 95, so it would be right under the 1 here, so it'd be about here. And then we have 30 and 135, so I'd say about here. And 175 for 40. So here's 150, so I'd say about here. And 215, here's 2. So I'd say about here. And then 255, here's 250, so 255 would be about here. So if I draw that line, I'm a little off, be about here. I'm a little off, guys, sorry. Just plot these points. Sorry, guys. Which I did. And then it says, In what ways does the line that represents the second company's access plan differ from the line that represents the first company's access plan? Well, it says the second company starts at a greater initial value and also increases in total cost more quickly over time. In other words, the slope of company 2, of the second company, is steeper. So now, in our practice, we've got a band, excuse me, band that will be paid at a flat fee for playing a concert. Additionally, the band will receive a fixed amount for every ticket sold. So if 40 tickets are sold, the band will be paid $200. If 70 tickets are sold, the band will be paid $260. So first of all, we got to determine the rate of change. So we have $40 or 40 and 200, and then 70 tickets for $260. So we've got to find that rate of change, which is our slope formula. So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we've got 260 minus 200 over 70 minus 40, which is 60 over 30, which equals 2. So the next thing that we have here is it says, let x represent the number of tickets sold and y represent the amount the band will be paid. Construct a linear function to represent the relationship between the number of tickets sold and the amount the band will be paid. So let's start with y equals mx plus b. Well, we have our slope, which is 2. We need to find what our b is. So y equals mx plus b. And we are going to use 40 and 200. So 200 equals 2 times 40 plus b. So 200 equals 80 plus b. Subtract 80 from both sides. And we have b equals 120. So our equation then for y equals mx plus b is going to be y equals 2x plus 120. Okay? So now C, okay, says what is the fee the band will pay for playing the concert, not including sales tax? Fee is $120. In other words, the y-intercept. Okay. And D, it says how much will the band receive for each ticket sold? They will receive $2 per ticket, or the slope. And this ends the lesson.